Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my Thursday Lives. Today, I am joined by my friend and colleague, Robin Engelson. She's thriving with Hashis. So, for those who don't know what that means, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune illness, and Robin is living proof that you do not have to be defined by a diagnosis. I'm going to read out her little bio because she's got like such a short and punchy, sweet bio. She energizes moms to reclaim their lives through food freedom. She is an online CEO and autoimmune expert, coaching corporate moms simple lifestyle transformations with her signature Thriving with Hashi's coaching program. Robin, welcome.
Thank you so much, Raywin. I am so excited and happy to be here so I can share with others who have Hashimoto's thyroid autoimmune disease how you can stop existing and start living.
Incredible. I am so blown away by your story of transformation that I was compelled. I'm like, we have to let people hear this. So, do you want to give me some background into what happened, when it happened, and how you've ended up where you are right now and doing what you're doing?
Absolutely. So I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroid autoimmune disease 13 years ago. I walked in to get blood work for something else, and I came out with an autoimmune disease. Can you imagine how that must feel? I was surprised, shocked, scared, all the emotions that come with an autoimmune disease that I had no idea what it is or what it was at that point. Um, and so, like most people, I went home and went on the computer and did research, which is the worst thing you can do because what that does is scare you, frighten you, make you feel like it's worse than it really is. You don't know what really is the truth. And then, all of my symptoms started to make sense because I was exhausted, sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night, not a present parent to my 3-year-old son at the time. I was literally existing, not living. I was in a complete brain fog. I'd be driving with my son in the car, thinking I'm going to the grocery store, and I'd end up at Target and have no idea how I got there or what was happening. My body ached, my joints hurt. I was literally crumbling and falling apart. And the thing with Hashimoto's or any autoimmune disease is that we call it the invisible, or I personally call it the invisible disease, where autoimmunity is invisible. You can't see it on someone. It's not like you have, something that's physically visible, but you're literally dying inside, is how I would describe it to people. I was existing. I was just making it through the day. I would get my son up. I would get him ready to preschool. I'd come home, and I'd go back to bed until lunchtime. Can you imagine? Like, it was just awful. I literally was just sick and sick and sick. And as I got diagnosed, what happened is, which is very interesting, that does happen to some people, is that I couldn't find a doctor that would listen to me, and they just went off the blood work. And this is really important because they kept treating me with medication that my body was rejecting because I was deficient in T3. Your thyroid is composed of T3, T4, and TSH. My body could not produce T3. And that was one of the reasons why I kept getting sicker and sicker. And the medication they were prescribing to me at the dose levels was making me worse. So it took me 2 years to find a doctor that actually listened to me instead of using my blood work as a baseline. And so what happened is when I started fueling my body with proper nutrition, which is key, and allowed myself to work with a doctor that really heard me for who I was and started using different medications that my body would absorb and supplementation that my body would absorb, I started to feel better. My energy went up. I started sleeping less, 6 to 7 hours a night. I didn't go back to bed after my son went to school. I had complete clarity. If I knew I was going to the grocery store, that's where I ended up. And my body aches went away, my joint pain went away, and my friends were saying, "What's different? What's going on?" And I'm so energized. Even if they didn't have an autoimmune disease, they wanted to know what I was doing and how I healed myself with my autoimmune disease.
That's amazing. So powerful, so impactful. And when you start working on yourself, I always say that you start becoming a beacon for other people to follow. Because then they start to question, well, how did you get to where you got to, and what are you, like, you're looking better than you did 10 years ago. I get that a lot. People are like, you look better than you did in your 20s, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in my 40s and thriving despite having being told, like, oh, you've got asthma, you've got IBS, you've got anxiety, you've got this, you got that. And like, those things don't bother me anymore, because I started fueling myself in the right way and learning what that meant for my body, for my individual body. And I feel like you touched on that just now, like when you said that the blood work was not actually giving you the answers that you needed. They were just kind of treating you with this one size fits all approach that wasn't actually what your body needed. Like and I see it over and over. Your story is so familiar because it happened to me. It happens to every client that walks through my door, where they go to a doctor and they're told, well, you got this symptom, therefore this matches with this prescription med, and you should be fine. So if you're not fine, it must be in your head. And there's that element of medical gaslighting that takes place where, I've even had a doctor tell me, he's like, well, you studied psychology, all of this could be, you can manifest this, you can, like, it's psychosomatic. I'm like, dude, I am not imagining my stomach killing me. Like, this is not in my brain, right? I have something biochemically not working. And I'm so glad that, I listened to my own intuition and trusted my gut. The irony isn't lost on me. I trusted it. And, I went and did all the investigative work, all the functional medicine labs, the things that your regular doctor would not do, and discovered, yeah, I had a whole bunch of, tons of overgrowth of certain pathogenic bacteria, parasites, a whole bunch of things. So in your case, what was that route that you went down in order to be able to, because you said that you found a doctor who did listen to you. What kind of doctor, and how is that what led you into doing what you're doing now?
Great question, and I can completely relate with you as well, Waywin, because just to touch on first, I had tremendous gut issues. I had migraine issues. I had allergies. I had so many issues that were directly related to my autoimmune disease that I had no idea that's what it was. And so by finding the solution, I don't have these issues anymore. So I get to thrive with Hashi instead of just exist and let the disease run me. I run the disease. It doesn't run me. And the doctor that I found was a functional medicine doctor. Because the difference between a regular practitioner and a functional medicine doctor is the functional medical doctor looks at different areas of your life externally, not just the blood work to prescribe the medication. And that's what my body needed, was the proper supplementation that I was deficient in that was causing all of these issues. And you don't know that in the moment, right? And you don't know, you get diagnosed and you think the worst. But if you really just take the time to first breathe and know that you're going to be okay, you're going to find the answers, and you're going to be able to work with someone that can help you solve your issues and problems so you can feel better, right? And that works into the mindset piece. And so mindset plays a huge part in my healing, huge part. I went from a negative mindset to a positive, thriving mindset. And the work in between is what you get to do. So what I did was work with a functional doctor, change my nutrition completely, because what I was eating was not fueling my ailments, my autoimmune disease. And I thought it was. And I always say, you don't know what you don't know, but you get to learn to be better, 1% better every single day. So you can thrive with Hashimoto's, you can thrive with your autoimmunity. So by working with a functional doctor, changing my nutrition, and really changing my mindset to allow myself to be open to changing and being the best version of myself.
I love it. I love, love, love everything that you are saying because, I always think that these situations, these illnesses, this dis-ease, it shows up to bring us back to connecting with ourselves, connecting with what we actually need, whether that is a physical need, like a biochemical, or even an emotional one. Because very often, what I have seen in the last 6 years of practice, and even prior to that, because I've been practicing as a functional nutrition coach since 2017. And prior to that, since 2009 as a hypnotherapist, and I was very obsessed with how the mind impacted the body, not realizing, but my IBS is the thing that woke me up to the fact that the body can actually really impact what's going on with your brain, right? Because if you've got an overgrowth of bugs, then that's going to really affect your energy levels, affect your hormone production. So you mentioned that you had a ton of gut issues, and I see that over and over with women who've got hormonal problems. They've got so many gut issues. But ultimately, like, if we are not conscious or cognizant of the fact that, we've got this bi-directional relationship between the gut and the brain and the body and the body and the brain, because we kind of always separate them, then we're kind of doomed to fail, because then we're stuck in this cycle of trial and error, of trusting, therapists, trusting whoever, I was going to say therapist, specialist, the endocrinologist, the gastroenterologist, the psychologist, whoever they are. We end up handing over power to these people because we think that they know our bodies better than we know them ourselves. And, like I was saying, my 13, 14 years of being in clinical work and trying and understanding that we have to pay attention to both the biochemical as well as the psychological, and that trauma can be a real thing for some people, because we don't realize that trauma can disrupt and alter the gut microbiome. And that can really impact a lot of what's going on with your absorption of nutrients. So you could be eating some of the best foods on earth, like you could be eating clean, but if you're not absorbing it, because, eating well is one thing, but being able to absorb well is a whole other ball game. So if you're not absorbing any of your nutrients, then you're not going to be feeling the way that you should be feeling, which is you're supposed to have energy. You're supposed to not feel wired or tired. You're supposed to be able to sleep through the night. You're supposed to be able to think clearly, able to drive your car and know exactly where you're going. I mean, I had a thing where I would once I couldn't find my keys and I ended up finding them in the fridge. This was a long time ago, by the way. It was 2011. It was not a good year on a lot. That was the year I got diagnosed with IBS. And I had total brain fog and took 2.5 hours to kind of get out of bed every day, which you obviously can relate to. So if we wanted to let the people who are tuning into this understand that all of this is fixable and that it is not fixable with just taking meds, what would be sort of like your one pearl that you'd like to give them?
So my one pearl, and not to play on words, trust your gut, right? Because your gut knows what you need and what you want. So if you know that the doctor's not helping you, don't keep going back, because they're going to give you the same advice, and that's the definition of insanity, and you're never going to get better. So if your gut says invest in a coach that knows how to help you because they've been there, done that, do that. Invest in you. You are the most valuable resource on this planet. You are the most valuable person in your family. You are the most valuable and irreplaceable person on this earth. And if you don't help you first with the right help and fix what's wrong, you're just going to keep existing. You're not going to be living. You're not going to be thriving with Hashi or any other autoimmune issue and disorder. So trust your gut and make sure that you understand what that means. So if you don't know what that means, it means that you want to get healthy. You want to live better. You don't deserve to not be able to get up and take care of your kids. You don't deserve to feel like crap every single day. You were not put on this planet to exist and live that way and then die. You were put on this earth to live the life that you intentionally want to live and impactfully can do every single day. But you
Amen.
all starts with you.
Right. Yeah. And coming back to loving yourself and listening to what you need, listening to what your body needs. So acknowledging those needs, the biochemical and the psychological, and tying and not separating them, and not going to two people or two or three, four, five, six, seven, eight practitioners who separate them, because we function as we're a finely tuned machine, or like a symphony. You need all the different parts of the symphony, all the different players to be playing in tune with each other, right? So I feel like that was really wonderful, sage advice. Just so good, so good. So, how do people reach you? How do they get in touch with you? How do they? I mean, are you seeing clients one on one? Do you
I
work with
am.
groups? How
Yes.
do you do? Yeah.
Yep. Great question. So I work with clients one-on-one. All of my programs are customized to the person. We're not all created equal, even though we might have the same autoimmune disease. So the best way to reach me is to book a strategy call with me. We'll get crystal clear on exactly what's going on with you and how to fix it with the proper solution. So definitely book that strategy call with me and start living and not existing.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Robin. I feel like that was so packed with power. Like you're such a powerful force. Your story is so inspirational and so transformative. And I think anyone who has the opportunity to sit down with you and get your insight is going to be blown away by how much you care and how much you can help them. So I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on this live with me. Folks, if you have questions about autoimmunity, about Hashimoto's, about hypothyroidism, about diabetes, any of the things, Robin is your lady. Like, get in touch with her, drop her a message in the DMs, book a call. I'm going to put the link right below this video so that you can book a call with her. And I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.